incredible haul of major titles, an almost unsurpassable haul of European Tour titles. Already he's won 31 of the things. The next nearest contender has 6. And yet, since becoming a major champion 7 years ago, nobody has ever beaten him 4 times in a row. But that could happen right now, because Daryl Gurney is on a winning streak against MVG, having beaten him in Minehead to claim the Players' Championship Finals title and beaten him twice in the Premier League. If he beats him here in Graz, it will be the first time since MVG became the major winner that he is today that somebody has beaten him 4 times on the spin. Gary Anderson hasn't done it. Michael Smith hasn't done it. Phil Taylor hasn't even done it. But Super Chin could be the man. And with the way that Van Gerwen...
And he will be ultra determined to ensure that Daryl Gurney does not make it 4 wins out of 4. Not only does he have the incentive of winning a 32nd European Tour title, he'll be well aware that Daryl Gurney is on the verge of writing a little bit of history in this semi-final as well. The bad news, though, for Daryl Gurney, a little interesting statistic that has just been brought to my attention. Since we moved to this new format on the European Tour of these first to 7 semi-finals, first to 6 over the course of the bulk of the weekend until we get to the last 4. Since this new rule came in at the start of 2018, Michael Van Gerwen has not lost a European Tour semi-final in a first to 7 encounter.
But I will counter that, Rob Malarkey.
And you will give me?
In the first stage of the Premier League,
60.
It was first to 7. In the second stage of the Premier League, it was first to 8. And in the Players' Championship Finals, it was first to 11. And tell me, Malarkey, who won all 3 of those?
Mr. Gurney.
That is true.
Your Honour. But I put it to you as well that Gurney was beaten twice in 2 of those semi-finals last year alone. 7-6 in the Dutch Darts Masters and 7-3 in the German Darts Grand Prix. You can twist the figures however you want. Michael Van Gerwen will let his numbers do the talking. Didn't really let the numbers do the talking in the quarter-final, though, against Peter Wright. 89.28 the average, 6 from 19. He was fairly blunt in his appraisal of his performance in the post-match interview.
96. Michael, you require 72.
Well, MVG to get the first leg on the boards. Standard 15 darter, and it was some sloppy finishing at the start of his quarter-final with Peter Wright that just betrayed a lack of focus, perhaps. You mentioned that clash on the Euro Tour, the semi-final they had in the Dutch Darts Masters last year. That's one Gurney really should have won, because he had a commanding lead and should have breezed it, but it was so hard. It's like a tortoise trying to get up some steps. It was just hard to watch Daryl Gurney try and get over the finishing line.
Yeah, and that 7-6 win for Van Gerwen, one of those 24 now consecutive deciding legs matches that he has won. A sequence that began at the 2015 Gibraltar Darts Trophy against Kevin Painter.
Can't now leave a finish, Gurney.
99.
Yet more stats to illustrate the strength and mental fortitude of Michael Van Gerwen as well
83.
as his prowess actually throwing darts. But yeah, Michael Van Gerwen averaged over 100 in his first 2 matches this weekend, but nothing like that against Peter Wright in the quarter-finals. Gurney yet to post a tumpless average this weekend. He would love one tonight in this semi-final. It might just be what he needs to give himself every fighting chance.
Treble 18. Double 16.
90.
Those were the shots that were going when Gurney beat MVG on Thursday night in the Premier League. Double-double. Well, I thought the lie was so inviting for that treble 20 that he'd stay there, but you could see straight away he was thinking double-double.
This could do with going for Daryl Gurney, and he does find double four and we're level at one apiece. And Daryl Gurney hits back and levels things up.
180.
First maximum of this one. Gurney did not hit a single one in his win over Adrian Lewis in the quarterfinals. He is going to have to find some here.
54.
Because even if you finish flawlessly, you've still got to give yourself those opportunities against Michael van Gerwen, and that means piling in a few trebles each leg.
131.
Because he is going to leave himself finishers regularly after 3 visits to the board.
100.
It was interesting with Gurney when he was asked about that run that he's managed to put together against Van Gerwen in the aftermath of his win on Thursday night, and he started off by saying, well, I don't fear him, and then he contradicted himself completely and said, well, actually I do fear him. The question is, I don't really panic anymore.
And that's it. You can be aware of how good your opponent is, but if you can just not let it affect you and get on with your game, gives you the best chance of winning. And he's already shown that he is capable of beating MVG in major finals. Not many people who can say that, as MVG piles in an 11 dart leg to go back into the lead.
I think first and foremost, Daryl Gurney did not want to lose sight of the fact that the win that he got the other night, irrespective of his opponent, was a win that left him just 1 place and 1 point outside the top 4 in the Premier League standings, and he's got a match against Gerwen Price coming up in Sheffield next Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely huge game in the race for the O2, but if Daryl Gurney could overcome Michael van Gerwen here and maybe go on and win the title, his second Euro Tour of the year,
139.
He's set himself a target of having a better year this year than last year. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't care about where he is in the exact rankings, and he is number 3 in the minute. But
100.
if he can just be a little bit better than last year and keep on doing that year after year after year, he'll get to where he wants to be.
$92.
Well, this is already Daryl Gurney's best ever performance in this tournament. He's never made the semi-finals prior to this year. 2 quarter-final appearances.
55.
But he will want to go further, and he will feel he's capable of going further.
Another one. Trademark MVG. Big fish pinged in leg 4. And Michael van Gerwen is flying. Wow.
Game on.
Just when we were contemplating the idea of Daryl Gurney going further in this competition, Michael van Gerwen comes up with a timely response.
Well, it was baffling to see MVG average less than 90 in the quarterfinals. But did you expect him to follow that up with more of the same? Not sure many people did.
139.
Well, he's had some big, heavy wins in these semi-finals that are talked about as well. The 7-1 defeat of Rob Cross not so long ago. There were 7-0 hammerings of Michael Smith and Joe Cullen in semi-finals last year.
58.
Van Gerwen leaves the 164. He's just pinned the 170. Gurney applying some pressure. This is more like it from Daryl Gurney. The 180s are there.
Oh, surely not. He's done it again. He's only backed up the ton 70 with a ton 64. And this is dynamite darts from Michael van Gerwen.
And he's done it after back-to-back maximums from Gurney. Michael van Gerwen has arrived. It was a pedestrian 100 average. It was just run-of-the-mill stuff from him this afternoon against Stephen Bunting. It was, by his own ridiculous standards, pathetic in the quarterfinals, and now the world number 1 is here. 11, 12, 12, with finishes of 170 and 164. Michael van Gerwen is looking to end this winning run that Daryl Gurney has over him in the most brutal fashion. Look at the numbers.
60.
Van Gerwen, you suspected, would have been just a little bit more conscious of the fact that he needs to put Daryl Gurney back where he belongs in his place. That was perhaps the idea for Michael Van Gerwen tonight.
100.
140 to leave 167, maybe?
A little deflection off that dart.
95.
Well, you do wonder, even in a first to 7 game, if Michael Van Gerwen might at some point end up taking out checkouts of 170, 167, 164 and 161. But what a set-up shot that is from Daryl Gurney.
I mean, Gurney's not playing badly, actually, in large portions of this match.
20.
As you said, timely from Van Gerwen, coming as it did. Oh, my word, he's strayed over. 7-7. He's recovered really well there, though, Daryl Gurney. Credit to him for that particular act of escapology.
Well, 14 darter just stops that MVG charge, but doesn't mean that it's going to just suddenly go back to throwing 90 averages like he was in the quarters.
91.
Well, I suppose Daryl Gurney can't really afford to lose sight of the fact that it is just the one break. The problem is Van Gerwen also threw first as well, so effectively he does need to break twice. But if he can just sort of put a little bit of perspective on this, it might well help him out.
Well, yes, this is it. This is what we want to see. The Northern Irishman has now pinged a third 180 to go with that 165 set-up shot from the last leg, and he's starting to score. Van Gerwen's enormous finishes have just spurred Gurney on to find some big score.
Yeah, we suggested that earlier, that Gurney is the sort of player who really does come alive when his opponent comes alive, and it sort of brings out the best in him.
$96. Daryl, you require 145.
Back to the treble 20.
Yeah,
Great stuff from Gurney, but this, well, it could be another. If he can find the 60, he can't. So Gurney to break back.
Daryl, you require 40.
Fantastic resilience from the players' champion. Superb stuff from Daryl Gurney, 13 darter. World number 3, now going toe-to-toe, and it is a breaker throw, Daryl.
Yeah, brilliant numbers there. We see the 11 dart hold, the 12 dart break for Van Gerwen, the 12 dart hold, then the 14 darter for Gurney, and then that 13 dart breaker throw as well. That is exemplary stuff from both.
140.
We've not seen him score like this all weekend. Daryl Gurney has been all right so far in this tournament, but all right is not enough against Van Gerwen.
$57.
Well, these two are certainly delivering a semi-final that the crowd were craving.
57.
Beautiful. Surely it's a ton 40 from there.
100.
Wow.
Well, after that first start, you really fancied at least one more. Could have left himself the 164. Van Gerwen's on the 264.
58.
Oh, those couple of legs from Gurney, maybe they have just taken the wind out of MVG's sails. Look at this.
To leave double 12.
Fabulous stuff from Gurney. 4 maximums. They've all come in the last 4 legs. Stunning fight back.
105. Daryl required 24.
3 clear darts at double 12 for Daryl Gurney to get back on terms at 4 apiece, having trailed 4-1. Double 6 does not want to hang around too much longer. Potentially awkward double 3.
21.
And Van Gerwen may well be back in here.
Michael, you require 101.
3 missed darts to level things up.
Well, the problem for Gurney, he's got to go 1-1-1. He's got a massive dart that he's going to block some of the bed wherever this first dart goes. So just to the right. Can He going off that?
1.
He can't.
Michael, you require 52.
Michael van Gerwen makes full use of those missed starts at doubles for Daryl Gurney. Double 12, double 6, double 3 and 2 bites at double 1. 5 opportunities for Gurney to level things up at 4 apiece. But guess what? Van Gerwen's in front at 5-3.
Yeah, and you could see the little smirk on Van Gerwen's face. He knew Gurney was coming back at him. And there wasn't a great deal he could do about that in that leg until Gurney missed and missed and missed again.
100.
And he's actually broken there with 18 darts as well, which is a bit of a gift for Michael van Gerwen.
99.
So 2 breaks to 1 in favour of Van Gerwen, who's 2 legs away from a place in another European Tour final.
85.
It would be his 4th of the year.
He's won this event twice before. And if he has made the final, he's won it. Beat Mervyn King in 2013, beat Michael Smith a couple of years ago. None of them have been in this venue. This is a new one for MVG. And he's not in the final yet, because Gurney really has kicked in the scoring over the last few legs. It's just those missed doubles that have hurt him. I mean, he'd be in a fantastic position if he'd won that last leg. I mean, Daryl Gurney could be throwing to go into the lead here. As it is, another one there. Gives him one at double 8. Oh, just outside.
Michael, you require 152.
Well, Van Gerwen, should we be surprised if he takes out this 152? Shouldn't be surprised at all. Double 16. Oh, he's some way inside actually in the end. And that's how much it was, Michael. Well, that would have been agony for Daryl Gurney had that 152 gone. This could be equally agonising for him as well. More missed darts at doubles. A cluster in the 8th leg, and now more damage done in the 9th as well.
Wow. Van Gerwen does pin the double 8, and look, it says 6-3. He is averaging more than 100, which is a few points clear of Daryl Gurney. But I tell you what, in the second half of this final, Daryl Gurney has been the aggressor. He has looked the most likely, and he has fluffed his lines, because a 4th consecutive win against MVG has been there for the taking for Super Chin. He's forced those opportunities by his own brilliance, and he's not been able to grab them. This is a man who hasn't been home for 3 weeks. He's been travelling all over Europe and all over Britain playing competitive darts. He looked shattered in the practice room earlier on,
91.
and he's burst into life 4 legs into this semi-final. And look at that, 13 missed darts at double. MVG's only missed 2, and he's had to be that clinical.
And 9 of those missed darts were in the last 2 legs as well, and that is where the real damage lies, and that's where the real damage has been done for Daryl Gurney. Those 2 checkouts equally damaging as well, as Van Gerwen just looked to build a bit of momentum at the midway points of this match, but it's reaching the final stages now.
99.
And he leaves the 1-3-2. 2 of the fanciest finishers in the game. Gurney gets the first poke and will not produce the 170, but MVG will look at the 1-3-2, the shot that won him the Premier League.
Michael, you require 132.
Says it's his favourite finish in the game. Treble 19. Bull for the final. Oh, he nearly adds that to the list of massive checkouts.
70.
Well, Gurney to take us into an 11th leg.
38.
It's more missed opportunities for Daryl Gurney. And Michael van Gerwen, double 8s, first time of asking. And it's a 7-3 victory for Michael van Gerwen, who avoids suffering a 4th successive defeat at the hands of Daryl Gurney, who no doubt will reflect on what might have been, especially those clusters of missed doubles in legs 9 and 10, as Van Gerwen was allowed to just, in the end, rather serenely make his way into the final of another European Tour event. Power scoring returns to Van Gerwen's game, an average in